So when I was about 4 years old, I was certain I was going to be a builder. You see, I come from a family of builders. My uncles are either carpenters or cabinet makers. My dad helped build our house. And I would often spend many an afternoon at my granddad's sawing away at blocks of wood. But on one sorrowful day, I realized that I would never have the ability to hammer a nail in completely straight. That it would always end up some wonky thing like this, right? And so I decided that building was just not my thing. And then I would take up something much easier, like being an astronaut. So, you know what's the beautiful thing about life, though? Is that you can always return to your dreams. I'm just going to unclip this. Because today I'm proposing an idea that's a little different, but it's going to return me to my dream. I want to mobilize the young people in this city and around New Zealand to rebuild Christchurch, but maybe not in the usual way. Rob was talking before about how the human spirit of this city is still strong, but it has taken a hit. But the young people now have an opportunity to rebuild the human spirit of Christchurch. Yeah, come on! And I want to propose an idea today about how we're going to do that. One idea. And there are going to be many more ideas that come, but this is just an example of how we're going to do it through a t-shirt. That's just me painting, casual. Now, before I get to that, there are three fundamental barriers that I believe are obstructions to young people wanting to get involved in making positive social change in their communities. The first is isolation. Now, some of us are young and some of us used to be young. And, Dad. And the thing is that as a teenager, as a young person, we all want to feel like we belong to something. And tackling the task of rebuilding the human spirit of a city is a huge thing. And to step into that by yourself, that's a huge thing. We don't want to be isolated. We need to be connected. The next thing is time. As a young person, on top of school, on top of extracurricular activities, part-time work, it's often very difficult for a young person to get involved in community activities. And lastly, expectation. A couple of years ago, a few friends and myself, we decided that we were going to put on a charity concert to fundraise some money for World Vision. I was brainstorming in the shower, because that's where I brainstorm, and I was thinking, man, we want like 4,000 people and like a massive stadium and like big lights like this and a speaker stack 5 times my height, which actually isn't that big. And what I realized is that after some time, I wasn't going to achieve that, and I'd placed these expectations upon myself that I shouldn't have done. And often as young people, we feel as though we have to do this massive, massive thing, but really what's important is just what's in my hands, what's in our hands. That's all that's required of us, just to give our best, because our best is good enough. It's good enough to rebuild the city. And so, 4 years ago, my friend Ben and I, we were sitting in the car driving around on a Sunday night, and I said, Ben, how awesome would it be if you had a shirt that said, I am Ben? And he said, Dan, how awesome would it be if you had a shirt that said, I am Dan? And I said, you know what? I dare you to wear one for a whole year. And then he was like, well, I dare you back. And so we did. And now 1,236 days later, I'm still wearing I am Dan shirts. You see, the thing is that Ben and I came up with an idea that if we could wear the same t-shirt for a whole year, we could ask people to sponsor us for doing it, and we could give the money to social causes. So what we did is throughout 2008, we ran fundraising events at our school, and by the end of that year, we'd raised enough funds to see a rainwater harvesting tank built in Tanzania. Now this dude, his name's actually Kevin, it's not Dan, but you kind of get the picture. And what happened at the end of that year, we decided, well, we're going to take off our shirts, but sorry, you're not going to see this today. Because 25 of our friends, said that they wanted to join us. And that's when we started what's called the I Am Challenge, and we run this thing called the 1 Year T-Shirt Challenge. And basically the idea works like this. We challenge young people to wear the same T-shirt for a whole year, to raise funds, awareness, and volunteer for causes that they are passionate about. We currently have 75 young people right across in 6 cities here in New Zealand that are fundraising for projects that are running down here in Christchurch. And they are wearing this shirt for a whole year. I am in their own name, by the way, for projects that are here in Christchurch. And over the past 3 years, we've expanded. This is I Am Challenge in Kuwait. And just demonstrating how the idea can be used in different scenarios, that these guys are currently raising funds and awareness for environmental causes in Kuwait, and they're just planting trees everywhere. Yeah. So, but I guess the question that's on everyone's mind right now is, how can a t-shirt rebuild a city? How can the 1-year t-shirt challenge possibly help rebuild the human spirit of Christchurch? And so, oh, that jumped a few slides. And so sorry, my slides have just gone a bit crazy on me, but it's as easy as 3, 2, 1. There we go. What we want is 300 challenges. 300 people wearing these shirts. Now, that's just not 300, that's 300 years of commitment. Think about it like that. We currently have 75, but plans are in place to see that number increase to 300 by the end of July. We want everyone to give 2 hours per week of their time. But we want young people in Christchurch to be doing that in areas that they are really passionate about. So for example, what Coralie was talking about before about the gap filler. People who are, young kids who are just passionate about music could come along and help in their project and just collaborate with different projects that are going on. And lastly, we want all of them to do it for 1 year. So 300 challenges, 2 hours a week for 1 year. 3, 2, 1, baby. And I'm just going to pop back to this other slide back here. There we go. And I want to come back to those fundamental barriers to that stop young people from wanting to enact social change within their communities. I want to talk about isolation. Because this t-shirt is going to enable young people from throughout the country and in Christchurch to be united under one banner saying, hey, come on. We've got to rebuild the human spirit of the city. We've got to bring joy to people's lives. It's going to enable young people to be involved in helping this cause all the time, because this is kind of a 24/7 thing, even though we have the idea of 2 hours per week. And lastly, expectation. For all the young people in the room, and I see the awesome red shirts in the back, you guys, hold out your hands and just look down at them. What you have in your hands is so, so valuable, and don't you ever, ever discount that. You guys are totally the future of this city, and don't you ever discount what you have in your hands. And so, what I want to do is I just actually want to speak to you guys right now. And I've had a chat to all these wonderful speakers over the last day, and you know what they've all concluded on? This city is not being rebuilt for them. It's being rebuilt for you guys, and for the generations that come after you guys. And so it's up to us, whether that is wearing a t-shirt for a whole year, whether that is helping with the student volunteer army, which has done a fantastic job, whether that is helping in the local school hubs and being a volunteer there, whether that is coming up with your own ideas. And I think that's the best one, because that's going to release you to influence more people and more people. Whether it is any one of those things, it is up to us to do it. It is our responsibility. So, I want to challenge you young people and all you other people, wonderful people in the audience. If you have dreams and ideas, and if you have simple ones, like even if it is just let's wear a t-shirt for a whole year and try and change the world by doing that, then run with it. Let's rebuild the city and the human spirit together.